do we find out all the time? That is will happen if we take the support of technology. So there's nothing else that can support the implementation of this policy other than using the right technology. So what I would want to propose to the government, that let there be a education network, the way the Indian Railways has a internet of their own, Railtel, right? They have their own internet. Education fraternity should have internet which is free and accessible only to teachers and students, which has got covering, not getting those negative things but having everything else. And let this be available to teachers and students. Let each child be given a tablet that is cheaper than subsidizing paper. Very soon we are going to run out of that. So no way but get technology onto that. So that is how I think things will work. So flip classroom is something that will work, and teachers training will be possible. Second comes the area that I actually work in. Okay, we actually work with around 3,000 schools. We are into language training. In fact, Sudipta and the other three schools of your division, they all use our product, except the global one. Anyway, so I'll come to on this. Is what we do is we use technology to deliver English as a language. But when NEP 2020 came in, we started working on developing a Sanskrit lab. English was simple, but Sanskrit is even more simple to acquire using technology. And now we are going on to the local languages. So what happens when NEP 2020 says that we should use the local language? So, ma'am, you said that there's going to be a challenge. Others say that it should be there. Let's look at what happens. During the foundation years, if we allow our students or we allow our teachers to teach core subjects in the mother tongue, that is going to be beneficial. That does not mean we do not teach them English. Okay, understand, when I'm trying to acquire a language which is English, and at the same time I'm taught math and science or EVS in English, before I can acquire this, how do I get to understand this? So it's okay to teach during the foundation years or up to class 3 or 4 or something in the mother tongue or the local language. But at the same time, we should see that English too is taught at the same time. A child by the age of 8 can acquire up to 5 languages. So acquiring languages is not a challenge. Second, there's a research which says that if a student or a child speaks 3 or more languages, their brain works better. Imagine one sentence, you use 3 languages and still make sense out of it, right? So that's logic building. So kids are capable of it. So what we need to do is have the local language, have the foreign language, which is English, and have the classical language, which can be Sanskrit, can be Urdu, can be Tamil, right? So kids right from the beginning should be exposed to 3 languages, and that is what NEP 2020 talks about, the 3 language concept. It is not going to matter, but if you say that I'm going to teach them or they need to be to access English at the age of 10, that's going to be a big challenge. They will not get it. And the other thing is, there's only one language, though not our language, which binds the entire country from north to south, east to west, is English. So English, mother tongue or local language, and Sanskrit too can be taught at the same level. Why Sanskrit? One, that brings in nationalism. That's the most important thing. Sir, we are talking about China, talking about Chinese, great, but they don't have nationalism. Okay, those because that being a communist country. But if we get in this thing, so it's not only nationalism. Understand, there's such a lot of rich culture that we have. There's such a lot of knowledge. I'm not talking about information buried in the scriptures, which we are not accessing, and countries like Germany are doing. So Sanskrit is great. I myself tried to acquire it, and you understand it's a very, very logical and formula-based language. If the name is, say, Jayesh, so there's a reason why after Ja there's a Ye or Sha. All that is it. So if you learn such languages, you start thinking logically and you can do coding better. So that's one part. Knowing local language is because the child, before he comes to school, he already knows that language. So for him or her, it is not difficult to comprehend what is happening. And when you know the local language, you understand the local heritage and you get to know more. And of course, English is always going to have that focus. So this 3 language concept is going to be excellent. We need not worry how our students are going to acquire that. But the challenge may be with the teachers. So if the teachers want to teach, they can again use technology to do that. So anywhere and everywhere, understand, we cannot say technology ek alag cheez hai. Nahi. It's a part of our day-to-day life. You can't even book a ticket. You have an Aadhaar card, you can't even match it without a mobile phone or technology. So we cannot say that people will not have technology. Everybody has to have technology. If not today, tomorrow they will have. But we will have to start training our teachers to get onto that. So the first focus should be on them. And this generation already knows technology. Before they within the womb of their moms, they have not only acquired what those Punani time Shivaji had acquired, they've acquired how to use mobile phones because moms are already using mobile phones. So what's happening is, let's give this a chance. NEP 2020 is a great piece of document, great policy, and they have also understood that they need to do it. That is why I work with KVs, I work with all the KVs. Each and every KV and each and every student of KV is being now facilitated with a tablet. The kind of infrastructure they're building, private schools can build it, and government schools will have to do it. You look at what Delhi has done. I was a part of a project where we trained 12,000 students in English, and they spent a lot of money. They are working on all this. So I don't think that's going to be a challenge. So if you look at technology, languages, and the kind of teacher training, everything blends together, and it is not difficult. Yes, it's a huge piece of document which has to be addressed piecemeal, one by one. If you do it, and if you take optimum use, I don't say everything should be technology. You can't replace a teacher, you can't bring in the human touch, but you can connect, you can reach the last mile, which is very important. So I will conclude with this saying, let's not worry about how do we train our teachers. Let's not worry about how do we take it to the furthermost corner of a country. That technology can easily take up. Let's get on to the how do we get those social skills, which I think sir talked about, is the social skills. We need to be more human now. We've become machines. There is something that machines will work. A lot of things will happen, but creativity will not come through machines. That is what we need to teach, and we need to teach our students how to be independent, how to learn on their own, how to do research. For that, I'm afraid of something, that increasingly students are reading less. Technology is making them go away from reading. So, as educationists, I would suggest that we see to it our students read a lot, and if they read, they will be able to do research. And with this, I end my talk here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jastinder sir, for explaining these ideas. You explained the use of technology. Certainly, we all agree with you that there is no other option now. Today, we have to have be I would say comfortable with technology, and we have to use technology in maximum ways possible. So, big thanks for sharing these ideas in detail. I'll come back to you with questions. And again, a big thanks to all the key participants for joining and sharing your ideas. With this, we come to the last part of the session, which is the question part. I would also invite other participants. If you have any question, you can write in the chat box. We have already received many questions, so I'm going to present these questions to all our key speakers. So, but before I start presenting questions, I'll just take a minute, and I would share my screen, for a minute, would explain what exactly we have been doing at School Lalaji Solutions. Some of you are already aware that School Lalaji Solutions, we are India's largest one-stop solution platform for educational institutions. We are present in more than 42 cities, working with around 4,500 institutions. We help educational institutions. We help them in buying right thing from right people at right price. We also help them in selling their old stuff, like their old buses, generator, furniture. We also help institutions in raising money, that may be in terms of loan or in some of financing or some other way. Why any school, any college, any institution would need a platform like School Lalaji? You already have your old suppliers, your team is expert, you believe you are getting good discount. Why you need a platform like School Lalaji? There are two main reasons. In our country, in our educational ecosystem, we have more than 10,000 educational suppliers in different categories. So it is practically impossible for any school, any institution, any leader to interact with all the good companies in one particular category. Sometimes our team, our team does not have the right bandwidth or the capacity to differentiate between all the suppliers, all the products and services available. Here we come into picture. We understand your school, your taste, your actual requirement. We also understand your budgetary limitations, and we have category experts who interact with different companies in different categories We also talk to their previous client to certify their credibility. We also negotiate with them on your behalf. And accordingly, after doing that filtration process, we recommend you good 2-3 companies, as per your budget and requirements. And here we help educational institutions. We are offering our support in different categories like smart classroom procurement, uniform insurance, diesel, solar plant installation, language lab, security solutions, furniture, recruitment, music classrooms, healthcare, robotics, SAM STEAM labs, career counseling, stationery, digital marketing, IT solutions, educational tour, generators, learning tools, and finance. And we take the guarantee that we'll save at least your 5 to 7% of your annual expenditure. So that's kind of a 5% additional revenue generation. Just one example, we saved 2 crore 40 lakh rupees for different schools in one category only, that's bus insurance. We are perhaps India's largest bus insurance partner. Some major highlights, we did 8 megawatt plus solar installation, 3,000 plus bus insurance, 400 plus smart classroom, 2,000 plus cameras, 350 plus training programs, 56 old buses, we sold from one school to other, uniform in 42 schools. We also delivered books during last year's lockdown for more than 92 schools in different parts of the country. And by the end of 2021, we aim to reach out to 10,000 institutions. We need your support, your guidance, your blessings. So I'll end my talk here. And I would request Rajesh sir, if I may present the first question to you. Sir, you are on mute. Rajesh sir, you are on mute.
Yeah, no, Ashok, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Raju. It has been asked by Professor Kavleen Kaur. Kavleen ji is with us in the session. Welcome, Kavleen ji. The question says, what role shall social and emotional learning play in the implementation of NEP 2020?
As a matter of fact, what we are trying to do in NEP is to bring in the human factor. And please remember, the proper definition of education is, it is not the degree. It says how to live life. So we have to bring in that factor. That's where the life skill, the social skills are very, very important. And I want to emphasize another point. You will be surprised when Narayan Murthy, he was employing the graduates, the MBA pass outs from IIM Ahmedabad, even 79% failed. Please understand, the best brain. So because the communication part of it, the social skills of theirs, and the value system, they were failing on that. So now the social skill, the life skill are very, very important for a successful career even. And please remember, we are talking of a qualitative change, and that is going to be very, very important. Thank you. I hope I have made myself clear.
So, we have Kavleen ji here. Kavleen ji.
Thank you so much for your input.
Yeah, ma'am, please go ahead in case, have I answered your question?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, Kavleen ji, for joining us. And I would now request Sudipta ma'am. Ma'am, this question has been asked by Ms. Hemlata Bharaya. Hemlata ji is a teacher with the Holy Cross Senior Secondary School, Bilaspur. The question says, what would be the challenges during the implementation of vocational training for students?
As I mentioned, even in my presentation, it is a challenge when you speak about vocational training or even when you talk about multilingualism. But vocational training comparatively is easier because, as mentioned by one of them, I remember the advent of NCERT and why, vocational training was a part of NCERT curriculum right from the beginning. What brought in that was the concept that education needs to reach to the masses. And when we talk about reaching to the masses, it also talks about the objective of education. Now, for us, there is a large section of the society which only looks at literacy, numeracy and literacy. And this is needed only for, a person knows how to work in the fields, knows how to implement the minimal level of technology that is required in his or her field, but does not bother about reading philosophy or literature. So here we are talking about reaching to the masses, focusing on their livelihood. And this was the concept with which the NCRT had brought in vocational training. So it is already existing in the Indian system. So therefore, I don't think implementing it would be that difficult. Getting an instructor for, as I mentioned earlier, also getting an instructor for carrying out agriculture using tractors and using technology that is modern agricultural methods is much easier than getting a psychology professor to teach in the schools. So why will it be at all difficult to implement vocational training in the schools? It is much easier, much readily available. So I don't think that is a challenge at all. And if taken in the right spirit, it can be very easily implemented in the schools.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sudipta ma'am. And I believe we have lost the connection with Johan sir as well. Johan sir, do we have your presence? Okay, and now I would invite Jaswinder sir, sir, if I may present the next question to you. And meanwhile, I must recognize the presence of Amita Mittal ma'am, a very senior education leader, from North India. Amita ma'am is the Wisdom School. Thank you, Amita ma'am. The question is about the language part. A lot of people believe that this NEP is a strong attempt to dilute the importance of English. It is, they believe that the writers perceive English as a foreign language or alien language. So, how do you see the status of English, let's say 10 years from now?
Okay, so I will start with your last part. There's a huge difference between a foreign language and a second language. In India, English is not a foreign language, but in China, it's a foreign language. Let's understand what is a second language. In India, I may not be able to speak or comprehend in English, but there are people in and around close to me speak in English. So it is a second language. But in a country like China, where the people do not speak English, it becomes a foreign language. So it is not correct to categorize English as a foreign language. One. Second is it that we are going to undermine the value of English? Are we putting it down? No. In fact, we are giving value to our languages. Okay, I've just taken two pencils. I'm going to give you an example. If I have two pencils and if I want to make this longer, I don't have to cut down on this language, right? So it doesn't mean that if you want our Indian languages to have the kind of respect, give them the respect and the stature that they require. Doesn't mean you cut down on English. And nobody's saying that English is to be cut down. Remember, the schools have an option to still continue teaching in English. It is an advice. They are saying kindly use local languages so that the child gets the fundamentals clear. Okay, so that their core foundations are stronger and then language can be taken up. So English is not going to lose its importance. Understand one thing, we as a country are already the back office of the world. We are trying to become the factory of the world. We are planning to become the service center of the world. If that is what we do you think we can do it without communicating with them? So we need to communicate with them in the language that they understand. Sir did talk about Chinese being taught and everything being done in China, but understand, along with Chinese, Mandarin, they are making it compulsory for each and every child in China to learn how to read, write, speak English. So nowhere can that happen. And it is not about, I'm an Indian, I should not speak a foreign language. I want to do business. Today, countries work like companies. It is not about fighting. It's not about grabbing lands. It is about who does more business with the other country. That is what is happening. So each prime minister is now working like a CEO. Look at our prime minister. What is he trying to do? That more work should come to my country. My people should be able to get more jobs. I should have my GDP should go up, and that is going to happen when I work with the entire world. For that, you need that language. Plus, doesn't mean Indian languages are not important. When we can speak more language, we might as well do it. In fact, we are known in the world to survive with more than one language. I want to take up a very thing. It is a little controversial, but you understand why was Pakistan divided in 1971? They were not ready to have two languages, Bengali and Urdu at the same time, or Punjabi at the same time. That is why they got divided. Had they thought like Indians that let's have more languages, they would have been a bigger country. So that's what I say. Let's give respect to each and every language, each and every culture. Speak the language that you want with your circle, but when you want to work in the world, English as a language has to be worked on. So it will never lose its importance. And nowhere does NEP 2020 says English should not be taken up, right? So there is no such problem. I hope I have given my...
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Jaswinder sir. Now I would request Rajesh sir, if I may present the next question to you.
Surely, please go ahead.
This has been asked by Ms. Tabassum Temboli. Tabassum ji is an educator with Ashoka Universal School, Nasik. The question says, how to meet the NEP with the current curriculum? Or will there be amendments done according to the new national education policy? I have also posted the question in the chat box.
Yeah, as per my idea, there will be, syllabus curriculum will be reduced surely, because when we are talking of conceptual learning, and here the point is, it is not going to be a rote learning now. The point, whatsoever the child is taught, he or she has to comprehend it. Up till now, what was happening? We were telling it is, child-centered education, but frankly speaking, it was not. It was always the teacher-centered only and curriculum-centered, to be honest. And to be particular, my personal view is it was only marks-oriented. Everybody was behind marks, So now the situation which we are going, and I'm really looking forward to it, that from 6th class onward, the vocational courses will be there. And conceptual learning, when the child, whatsoever they are taught, they have to understand that concept. Yes, there will be some modification in the curriculum. That's what I am personally feeling. Thank you. I hope, ma'am, I have cleared your doubt.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Rajesh sir. I'll come back to you for your concluding remark. And now I would request Sudipta ma'am. Ma'am, if you can take this question from the chat box. Ms. Nazia Wazid from Creekside International School, Hyderabad, have asked this question. What are the measures taken by the Cpsc to check the implementation of policies in the school? Do you believe Cpsc has taken some measures to make it?
Actually, Cpsc was the first one to move ahead and take up policies to implement NEP. I know a lot of school leaders who are leading Cpsc schools. They've had meetings. See, the whole idea of NEP actually comes from the national, perspective. So whenever there is a national board, which is the foundation of all national boards, will definitely be the first ones as the torch bearers to take up certain policies which would be, implementing the policy which they have framed. Now, there have been leaders from the CBSE and the NCERT curriculum who have been, instrumental in creating this national education policy. But yes, nothing has come on paper as an instruction for schools as of now. Now it is in the phase where everybody is trying to understand the policy, everybody is trying to find ways to implement it, everybody is trying to create a mindset that yes, it can happen. I would just like to add to what Jaswinder sir just mentioned, sir, if I can. When we spoke about implementation of languages and Chinese people, implementing English, I just wanted to add that one point. How many of you are aware how many Chinese and Koreans and Germans and Japanese people come to India every year to learn English? Did you have an idea about that? There are bulk of people who come to India every summer to attend summer school programs in the international schools to learn English only. Delhi is a place which is where they come, they stay, they learn English, they stay back for a year or two to just learn English as a second language. So if we call ourselves, backward in English, I'm sorry, we should not. We should be proud that we can give training to these countries already. We just have to utilize the resources which we already have.
Then I'll add something here. It is not only these individuals. In fact, you'll be surprised. We are currently training the Afghan army in India, and they are here in India because we've sent the trainers to Afghanistan, the army people to train them, and they have come here to learn English so that we can teach them in English. Around a year and a half back, we put up a project in Myanmar. So the Indian Army worked with us. We've implemented language teaching facilities in Myanmar to teach their entire government, the army and the officers, because they are being trained by the Indian Army. Because of this mismatch of languages, because we know English, our people are going there and training them in how to acquire this language and learn the traits of army in that language. So yes, India is the maximum number of people who speak English in the world are Indians, and only 10% of Indians speak English. Imagine if we go to the next level, America and UK is going to be scared. They already are, man.
It is a fun thing that maximum additions to the Oxford Dictionary are Indian words. For
Roti,
your information,
yoga.
every single day, at least 5 to 6 new words are being added in the Cambridge and the Oxford Dictionary, which are Indian words. Acceptance of these words is also because we should understand that our population may be something which we are scared to implement NEP because of, but the population is a boon. Because of the number of people who are there to propagate this, it would also become a boon for us.
It will, ma'am.
Absolutely. So big thanks also Dikta ma'am and Jasminder sir for that. And now with this, we come to the end of this very, very special session. But before we end this session, I must, request our key speakers if we can have your concluding remarks. And, we have also established one very interesting practice that while sharing your concluding remarks, if you can also suggest one idea that you would like to implement as a priority if you get a chance to become Minister of Education of a country. So what would be your priority? Let's say you become the Minister of Education for one day. So I would request Jasminder sir, if we can begin with you, if I may request you for your concluding remark. And what would be your priority if you get a chance to become Minister of Education?
Yeah. Thanks. Okay. So concluding remark would be, again, great policy. Let's not be scared. Let's spread the word around. Let's spread the positive word around. Let's have more of such sessions so that people get to know. In fact, today I got late because I was sitting with the principal in a school, and Rajul, I was telling her that why don't you attend one session? Because, we start thinking beyond what we've already thought through such sessions. So this has to happen. People have to discuss, and CBSE, I'm sure they would be doing that we need to have more and more people discussing it so that we know that we are going to enter into that phase. A lot of people looking at what has happened in the past are scared of putting the first step forward. So I would suggest, concluding remark, let's do it with all positive, attitude, and do it piecemeal. Achieve a certain goal, set up the next goal, achieve that goal, set up the next goal. We don't have to do this in 1 year. They say it will take us 10 years. But because we're going to change the way India studies, India behaves, India thinks, it is going to take time. And understand, the day we do that, Vishwaguru is what we're going to be called. So that's one thing. Okay. Coming on to this, is we're talking about what would I do if I were to be one day in office of the education minister. My first important thing is that this policy, whatever policy we make, whatever infrastructure we create, whatever money we may put, it is not going to be successful unless we have the right kind of teachers in our system. How do we attract the right kind of people to join this fraternity? By choice. So first thing what they've done is that 4-year integrated B.Ed course is a beautiful thing. I have decided to be a teacher. I am giving 4 years of my life, my prime time to this, that they are the people who really want to do it, not because they don't have any other job. One. So we get the right kind of people. How to get more of these people? So we need to pay them well. We need to recognize them. We need to respect them. So the kind of respect that is required. So I would term teachers as the first class citizens of the country. That's most important. I'll give you a recent example. In one of the Scandinavian countries, where the doctors and the engineer, they're all paid by the government. Okay, the teachers are paid by the government. These engineers and doctors went up to the representative and said, why are the teachers paid more than us? It was a one-line answer. And the answer was, because you are common people and teachers are not. Don't compare with teachers. They are the ones who created you. They are the ones who develop and who plan for the future of the country. So they have to be paid well. They have to be respected. And that is what I say. Let's bring in the respect. Let's give them the right kind of remuneration so that the best of the minds come into education. In America, if you want to do PhD, you have to teach. So people with brains do that. So what I have done is I have started a very small initiative which I want to make it big. That's a mission that I'm on. So Dr. Rajesh, Sudipta ma'am, all the others, I would request you to have a look at one thing. I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to share a document just for a minute. Okay. So here I come with the document. What I want to do is, like I told you, we are a company which is into languages. We do a lot of language teaching with around 1 million students every year. But it's time that we recognize all educationists. We have worked with more than 25,000 teachers, more than 3,000 schools. And I really feel that teachers, educationists should be given the kind of recognition. So, like chartered accountants write CA in front of their names, doctors write DR in front of their name, engineers write ER. Why can't we write a ED in front of our name? So my request is that let's recognize ourselves. Let's put this ED in front of our name. Let the world know that I am a teacher. I am training. I am developing the future of the country and I need to be respected. Plus, if I am respected, I will never do wrong. I will never do wrong. That's human mentality. So without taking your permission, I've actually gone one step further and I have just written this down. I would request if teachers, if you can do this, if you can have ED written in front of your name and pass it down to your teachers. Let everybody feel that no, I am doing a noble cause. Someday, we will have the right kind of people coming in by choice. So that's what I would request. If you can have it flow down in your schools, in your system, in your fraternity, this will go a long way. So thank you so much and request you to support or make it your mission. It is not something that I alone can work on it. I've got support of Rajulji. I want support of all the other educationists in this panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jaswinder sir, and wonderful initiative. As we have always committed that you have our support. So, in fact, big thanks for initiating such a wonderful vision, and big thanks for your participation in your thoughts, sir. Now, I would invite Sudipta ma'am. Ma'am, if we can have your concluding remarks, and what would be your priority if you get a chance to become Minister of Education, Union Minister of Education?
I was actually thinking on that, while sir was speaking. First, my concluding remark, there was a lot of fruitful discussion which happened. Thank you for inviting me as a part of this panel. Lot of things, lot of insights. But the only concluding remark is the whole idea can only become a reality if our approach towards it is positive. If we start looking for the obstacles in the very beginning, we will never be able to cross the hurdle. So we should look for opportunities in those obstacles and see how we can make it happen. And scaffolding is the key. There is no point looking at the whole policy as a whole as one thing at a time. We have to take our priorities. As we have the priority circles. We all know who are educationists. We look at the most important, not so important, maybe later, and something which can be done at the least priority. So we make those boxes and find out what is most important. Now, if I become an education minister for a day, the first thing that I would do is create a panel like this, where I would have educationists from all walks of life. Educationists are not only people who teach. So, Jaswinder sir, with due respect to what you just said, but everyone is an educator in today's world. I can learn from a farmer, I can learn from a janitor, I can learn from everyone who walks around me. So I don't feel extra proud because I'm an educator, because I am a learner. So more than an educator, I'm a learner. So we create a panel of experts who have been in the field of education for a long time, irrespective of caste and creed. I mean, using this term, I am from CBSE, I am from ICSE, I am from Falana board. So what happens is then there is only the constricted mindset which is shared. When we have a panel of experts from all walks of life, we will definitely come up with constructive solutions. So that's the first thing I would be doing if I become an education minister.
Wonderful. So that sounds typical like a minister of form a committee or form a panel. So thank you, Sudipta ma'am, for the wonderful thought. We appreciate your participation. We value your thoughts and ideas. Big thanks. And now I would invite Rajesh sir. Rajesh sir, we would like to end the session with your remarks. So first, your concluding remark, and what would be your priority if you get a chance to become Union Minister of Education?
Oh, sorry. First of all, I must congratulate Mr. Rajul for absolute, energizing session, and all the speakers have been absolutely with lot of things to come. And that's what happens. I'm sure that's what Sudipta ma'am was trying to emphasize. It's always the brainstorming which gives a positive result, and NEP emphasizes onto it that we have to have the window has been opened. Now we have to just see through it, move out, and then bring out the best in our children, and then create, of course, the 21st century learners. And I here want to say, if suppose I have been given a chance to be a minister of education for one day, my first, letter or word, or what you would say, the order would be, let the budget be more than 6% for education, because everything comes to a knot when it is not supported by finance. We may have a lot of schemes, everything. And I met Mr. Jaswinder the other day. But the things do not get materialized because there is no financial support coming. I'm sure many of the state governments have done fantastic. Let us do it. Let us take again, not to wait. वो नॉर्मन तेल के लिए बिल्कुल इंतजार करना हम बंद कर दें, या प्राइवेट स्कूल ये सोच के गवर्नमेंट सपोर्ट करेगी तभी करेंगे, वो कुछ नहीं हो सकता. हमें चलना है. और last all, I would like एकला चालो रे, then only the khila hobe, nothing else.
So you're following the election.
To be on the lighter note, this is what the things will move. The nation will become, of course, education guru in the world when we start moving. Little step, but the step has to go. And once more, I want to, I'm grateful for bringing me on the panel and bringing such an interactive session with such a great minds. Thank you so much, Raju. So nice of you.
Thank you, Rajesh sir, for that wonderful remark. So once again, a big thank to all the participants, Sudipta ma'am, Anurag sir, Rajesh sir, Johan sir, Manoj sir, Jaswinder sir, for your participation and your ideas. I also thank other participants, for joining us and being with us for the entire session. The recording for this session will be uploaded at the given link by the evening today. So big thanks once again. We'll end the session here. Thank you all.
Thanks. Thank you, Raju. Bye-bye.
Thank you.